Hi, I'm Jason with Level Up Investing, and I know that there are those of you out there who may not be ready to buy a house now or this year, but maybe in the next couple years. It's good to know that there are some key steps that you can take now in preparation for that process. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 3 key steps that you can do starting now. If you haven't already seen it, I created a video called Buying a House 101, and I'll put a link to the video up here so you can check that out. Those are the key steps involved, the 21 key steps that will be really important when you're actually in the process of buying a house. It's good for you to know these steps, but this video specifically is about preparing to get to that point. So let's get right into that. Okay, so here we are on the desktop, and you are interested in buying a house, but maybe not this year. Maybe it's just not the right time. Maybe your finances aren't exactly where you want them to be, or you're going through a personal or a health issue or a job issue or something that's making buying a house now not in the cards. But you definitely want to buy a house, and you want to buy it in the next couple years, 1 to 2 years. So this video, this little tutorial I got here, is going to go over the 3 things, as you can see right here, the 3 things that you really can do now. Things you can do now in preparation for when you wind up getting that house in the next couple years. So let's get right into these 3 items. Okay, so the first thing that you can do now in preparation for buying that house is to really get started with your own education. And a lot of us don't get taught this the financial education in school. I went to school for many years, and I basically went all the way through school, and not once did I get any real financial education. So this would be the time to really get educated. And when I talk about education, some of the key points, let me bring it up here. There are some key words that you just have to learn, and I'm just going to go over some of them here. These concepts will be reviewed throughout this whole Buying a House series, and this video is part of that series. But just some keywords just to throw out right now. Things like credit score or FICO score. That's a key term. Things to know about mortgages like interest rates, annual percentage rate, APR, annual percentage yield, a couple different things there. Just overall, what a mortgage is, but also what the different types of mortgage options are out there. Other items that you need to be educated on are the concepts of property tax, and let's see, property insurance. Sometimes these are included in your mortgage payment, so there's a term called impounded. Kind of sounds like they impound your car, but not exactly the same. So they impound these payments altogether. And another item to know is something called PFS, which is personal financial statement, that is really a breakdown of your financial situation, your financial status on paper, which banks, when they're looking at mortgage options for you and looking at your what kind of interest rate they're going to offer you, along with your credit score, they look at your personal financial statement, and that will help determine what they think to be is the appropriate course of action with loaning you for the property, because they're evaluating your risk level to them. So having a personal financial statement puts you ahead of the game, ahead of the curve, and you'll be much more prepared when the time comes. So personal financial statement, it includes things like your income, all the different types of income you have, and all the different assets you own, and what those values are, what those current market values are, and also a lot of your liabilities, things like your credit cards, any other mortgages you already have, things that that you still have to pay for, that you're responsible for. That's all part of your personal financial statement, which leads to a concept known as your net worth. So I am just touching on these subjects now. This is just the beginning of it. There's a whole lot more concepts, but the key is to get educated through these topics, through books, and through videos like this one, other videos online you might find as well, and others, learning from others. Those are all the ways to get educated, which is something that you can do now. Even if you don't have the means to buy a property now, you do have the means to get educated through all these methods. So that's something highly recommended to start right now. So the next item that you can do now, I like to call measure, then manage. So this is regarding your personal finances, your personal and family finances. And the saying is that if you don't measure something, then you won't be able to manage it. So you have to measure your finances so that you can manage them and get yourself in the best possible position for when you're ready to buy that house. So one way to measure it, if you've seen any of the Robert Kiyosaki books, he draws this graph that kind of looks like this. Yeah, it goes like that, kind of like this. He draws a line here and then a line right here. So this is essentially what in accounting they call your financial statements. Two out of the three most common financial statements are the income statement, which shows your income and your expenses. And then the second one is the balance sheet, which shows your assets and your liabilities. As he likes to call them, assets are what are things that you own that bring money into your pocket, and liabilities are ones that take money out of your pocket. So the way he describes it here is he puts it in these boxes, that this is your income, these are your expenses, and this is your asset column, and this is your liabilities column. So one way to measure it is to take a piece of paper and draw this out yourself. To me, it's always been very helpful to do so, and I would do this like every 6 months just to get an update. And start by putting down your income. And what that would include is the actual amounts. Just write the amounts of your, let's say, your monthly income from work. You can put any monthly income from, if you have any rental properties you own, or anything else that generates income, like if you have stocks, you get income in the form of dividends, you want to be able to put that in there. Let's see, if you own a business, the kinds of income that you receive through there, and if your spouse has a job as well as you, then you want to put that in there too. So this is a way of measuring your income. Then you go ahead and measure your expenses, which for most people, this is the biggest section. Expenses like your utilities, your phone, your taxes, which tends to be the biggest expense. Other expenses like your food, your eating out costs, gas for your vehicle, all that. So you have your expense section here. As I mentioned earlier, you can measure your assets by writing them down here. At this point, you might not have too many assets right now because you're looking at getting your first house. But in case you do have a rental property, you can put that on there, because if a rental property is generating income, then it's an asset. It's bringing money into your pocket. Other assets, as you mentioned, you have stocks. You may have inherited something that's generating income. So that would be considered an asset in the asset column. Several other types of items that can be on there. You just kind of think them through and measure them out and write them on here. And what would be nice is actually being able to write in here the actual value of these assets. Like, for example, if it's a rental property, you can put the value of how much of that property you actually own. If you own the whole thing 100% free and clear, then you want to put down what the market value is. So this is your asset column. And then here's your liabilities. And unfortunately, a lot of people have quite a few liabilities, which include things like a car payment or car loan, credit card, credit card debt, and school loans and various other debts that take money out of your pocket every month. So this is a way to measure, and then after you've measured it, the way to manage it is you do what you can to increase your income, within your means. And for some people, that means trying to work extra hours. For some people, it means doing a side hustle, a side job, or a business. So the idea is to try to increase your income while at the same time decreasing your expenses. So if you have more income and you have less expenses, that means you'll have a lot more left over that you can filter into buying more assets. The whole idea is that as your money comes in here to the income, some of it goes out in expenses, but the rest of it you want to purchase more assets that generate money, bring it into your pocket every month, so that comes back around as income, and then it comes back around here, and you buy more assets, generate more income, comes back around, generate more income to purchase more assets, and it goes around and around and keeps going, and that's how you generate wealth. So that might sound kind of complicated now, but you get the general idea, I think, where you want to be able to measure first and then manage. So that is something that you can start now if you haven't already. And other things you can do here is you can take your debt payments and really start I don't know what happened there, but change that. There you go. So, whoops. Yeah. Okay. So what you do is you take your expenses, and then you can manage your liabilities by taking the liabilities that have the highest interest rates, for example, like your credit card, and just start really knocking those out and start getting those paid off one by one to decrease this liability column. So that's another way of managing it after you've measured it. You get all your payments up to date. So what that does is that helps improve your credit score. And as I mentioned, you pay off these high interest credit cards. As you're doing that, you're again decreasing your expenses and your liability. If you're not in the position to actually buy another asset like the house we're talking about, then you could put any extra money into an online savings account, and since that's generating income for you, that would be another asset. So those are all ways to measure first and then manage your finances. And that's something that you can really get started now. And so that way, when it comes time to buying that house, you'll be in really good shape. And finally, the third thing that you can do now in preparation for buying that house is to find a mentor. Find someone that's done it before, someone that's been successful with personal finance and with maybe with business, but especially with real estate investment. I cannot stress this enough that finding a mentor is key. For years, I had a mentor. He was a physician friend of mine, and he owned about 12 rental properties, free and clear. And the guy he was able to work because he wanted to work, not because he had to. And he was just a great mentor. I talked to him all the time. So you'll find that online, you'll see stories about successful people who all had mentors. And one of the stories I like the most is Warren Buffett, who is the CEO and chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He would always say that he really had two mentors. He only listened to his father, and he listened to Benjamin Graham, who was pretty much known as the father of value investing. And that's pretty much all he listened to, those two guys, and he seems to have done very well. So finding a mentor is a critical step, especially now when you're not ready to buy that house, but you want to be on the right path. So why is a mentor really that important specifically? Not only do mentors allow you to gain and get key knowledge, In this case, things like personal finance and real estate investing and buying your own house, getting that knowledge, but also mentors can keep you on track with your, in this case, with your personal finance, with the actual process of going through buying the property. It's easy to get off track. So they keep you on track, especially if you meet with your mentor, say once every 6 weeks. Your mentor can help keep you accountable, and like you're trying to keep yourself accountable. Mentors also can help you stay logical. What do I mean by that? House buying, especially your first house, can be a very emotional experience, and sometimes your emotions can get the best of you, and you wind up getting something that maybe you shouldn't have, or you wind up overpaying because you're thinking emotionally. Whereas a good mentor can help keep you on track and keep things logical, and can be that voice of reason that says, hey, you know what, you're getting in over your head on this deal, or you know what, you should probably take a step back, or maybe even walk away from the deal if it's not working out right. So they keep you logical, they help you avoid being emotional. And another key thing is a mentor can help provide you with what you need to hear. A lot of times when it comes to business decisions, we want to focus on what we want to hear, whereas a mentor can help you with what you need to hear. So that's all very important to consider. The purpose of getting a mentor, highly recommended, and it'll serve you well as you prepare to purchase that very first house. Okay, so those are the 3 things that you can do now in preparation for eventually buying that house that you want. So if you like this content, definitely give us a like. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can get future videos in this Buying a House series, as well as videos on personal finance and other types of investments. So I hope that you can join us in the next video.